So I'm going to go through the second half of my Western Comics collection, and this is probably the crown jewel of my small collection, which features 12 comics. This is Western Comics number 14, graded 9.6. 9.6, I remember when I got this comic, I was like, wow, that is a super high grade, but it seems like almost every issue has a 9.6 or a few 9.8s, 9.4s here and there. But this issue, there are 5 graded issues. The 9.6 is the highest graded. It stands alone. I think there is something written on it. Has off-white to white pages with a Howard Sherman cover and art. It's a nice cover. I like this one. This is one I don't plan on getting rid of. It came out in April, May 1950. Beautiful one. Next up is issue 15. This was a hard comic to collect for CGC. There are 5 graded copies, one 9.6, one 9.2, and one 9.0. So this is the third highest grade currently. Cream to off-white pages. When I say currently, I mean that it's been like a decade and little to no movement on these, on having more comics graded. This is part of the Davis Crippen pedigree collection, and I showed the other day in my previous one a certificate. That certificate was not put out by CGC. For some reason I had it in my head that CGC was doing that. They're not doing that. That was from Heritage, actually. So that would explain why only some of my pedigrees have a certificate, and I don't think they are slipped into the comic. It's a Howard Sherman cover. It is June, July 1950 with cream to off-white pages. All right, this one is badly damaged. Up here, I knew it was damaged. I was told it was damaged. You can see the pieces. There's a piece here. There's a piece there. I cannot stress this enough. These cases are not indestructible at all. I think it would be unfair to refer to them as fragile, but they are not indestructible. This number 18 has 6 graded copies with one 9.6 and 3 9.0, so it's technically the second highest grade. The cover staple, it doesn't look that great. Off white to white pages. I could go out and get this regraded or resealed, put it that way. I probably won't. I'll probably just, if I ever sell it as is with a discounted price, which was how I got it. Came out in December 1950 with off-white to white pages. So, yeah, I mean, I hate seeing the damage, but I went into it knowing it was... when I sit there and when I was collecting these, I did some research on what is the best way to store these, because there is some pressure being put on it. If you can look in here, it's kind of held in there, and so it's like, what is the best way? Should be stored like this. Look, when you put it in a long box, people store a comic this way. Now, gravity would put some pressure down there, but I couldn't really store it this way because the boxes I had, this is quite tall, and the boxes I had, even the large plastic bins, were not tall enough to have it that way. So and the problem is, if I laid it flat, I have a feeling that if you laid enough on top, maybe 10, it might crack the one in the bottom because of the weight. These are not an insubstantial weight. And it seems like later graded ones actually are thinner. I'm talking, not the plastic is thinner, but the width of it, which is probably better for it. But I store them on their side. Okay, and I don't know I think it's held in there securely enough that it's not putting little to no pressure on it. Western Comics number 19. There are 6 graded copies. There's one 9.4 and then one 9.2. So this is the second highest graded. I like this cover. I like the use of the blacks in there and just kind of the the tension of the character walking through there. It's off-white to white pages. Came out in January 1951, and there's no other information on there, so not sure why not. Nice cover, though. Then we have number 24. There are 2 graded copies. There is one 9.4 and then this 9.2. So you're looking at the worst graded copy of Western Comics number 24. And this came out in June 1951 with off-white to white pages, another Howard Sherman cover and art. I like this one, another one. There are reoccurring characters in here, like the Wyoming Kid. So it wasn't like every story used unique characters. Okay. So yeah, it also says starring the Wyoming Kid. I think most of these talk about that. They used actually a lot of not a lot, but in the Crisis on Infinite Earths, when they were trying to use all the DC characters, there was an appearance by some of the Western characters. This is number 25. So there were 85 issues total. And this issue here has 1 graded copy in existence. And this is it right here. This is the only graded copy that exists. That came out in July 1951. This has white pages with a Howard Sherman cover and art. And if you're wondering whether there are comics that are completely ungraded, yes, there are tons of comics that are completely ungraded, that have no graded copies, particularly in Western comics. There is somebody, my collection is on the CGC website, is rated or graded, ranked number 2. Sorry. It's ranked number 2. The number 1 is way better than this one. That person has a lot of the highest grades, but there are tons of omissions in there because they simply don't exist. I bought some Western comics ungraded raw with the thought that I could someday get them graded. I actually forgot that I did that and ended up selling some, if not all of them. So, it's not a big deal. But yeah, this is probably the other crown jewel in my Western comics collection because it is the only graded copy in existence. So that is the second half and the finale of my Western comics collection, which has 12 issues total.